Hello everyone, welcome back to the Impact Report. Please subscribe and like my videos. The world woke up to a moment many believed was impossible. For nearly a decade, Crimea stood as the symbol of Russian dominance in the Black Sea region, a territory Moscow considered untouchable, fortified, and permanently under its control. But today that assumption has been shattered. Ukraine's epic victory in Crimea is not just a military breakthrough. It is a geopolitical earthquake that has shaken global power structures and rewritten the rules of modern warfare. From Sevastopol to Simferopol, the balance of power has shifted dramatically, and the message is clear: no occupation is permanent when resistance, strategy, and national will converge. This development marks a turning point not only for Ukraine, but for the entire Eastern European security landscape. The exterior dimension of this conflict begins with Crimea's geography and symbolism. Crimea is not just land, it is leverage. Its coastlines dominate Black Sea trade routes, its ports enable naval projection, and its airfields extend operational reach deep into Eastern Europe and beyond. For years, Russia transformed Crimea into a military fortress, reinforcing air defenses, deploying naval assets, and embedding command centers beneath civilian infrastructure. Ukrainian forces, however, adapted. Precision strikes, intelligence-driven operations, and coordinated pressure across multiple fronts slowly eroded the illusion of Russian invulnerability. Bridges once seen as permanent lifelines became liabilities. Supply routes turned into choke points. What the world witnessed was not a reckless assault, but a calculated campaign designed to exhaust, isolate, and dismantle Russian control from the outside inward. The interior dimension of Ukraine's Crimea victory is where the true story unfolds, and this is the heart of the transformation. Inside Crimea, the psychological landscape shifted long before the military one. Russian troops stationed there faced isolation, uncertainty, and dwindling morale as supply chains faltered and communication lines were disrupted. Ukrainian intelligence operations penetrated deep, exploiting weaknesses and creating an atmosphere of constant pressure. Local populations, long subjected to militarization and surveillance, began sensing change. Ukrainian operations focused not only on firepower, but on disruption of command cohesion. Russian officers struggled to maintain authority, while defensive systems became reactive rather than preventative. The interior collapse was gradual but relentless. Once Russian forces realized that reinforcements could not arrive safely and evacuation routes were under constant threat, the perception of control vanished. This internal breakdown mattered more than any single battlefield success, because control is as much about belief as it is about force. Performance-wise, Ukraine's operation in Crimea represents one of the most effective modern military campaigns, conducted by a nation defending its sovereignty against a larger occupying force. Ukrainian forces demonstrated exceptional coordination between land-based missile units, drone operations, naval strike capabilities, and intelligence assets. The ability to neutralize high-value targets while minimizing unnecessary destruction showcased strategic maturity. Russian defenses, once considered layered and impenetrable, failed to adapt to asymmetric pressure and precision warfare. Ukrainian performance exposed the limits of static defense in a rapidly evolving battlespace. Every successful strike compounded the pressure, forcing Russian commanders into defensive postures that reduced their operational flexibility. This performance has already become a case study for military analysts worldwide. Safety features in this operation were not accidental. They were embedded into Ukraine's strategy. Unlike conventional assaults that rely on overwhelming force, Ukraine prioritized targeted actions designed to reduce civilian harm and infrastructure collapse. Precision targeting avoided indiscriminate destruction, preserving urban centers and cultural landmarks. Evacuation corridors and information campaigns helped reduce civilian exposure to combat zones. This approach strengthened Ukraine's international standing while undermining Russian narratives. The emphasis on controlled escalation rather than mass destruction reflected a strategic understanding that legitimacy and long-term stability matter as much as territorial gains. Safety, in this context, became a weapon, one that denied Russia propaganda victories and reinforced Ukraine's moral position. The unique selling points of Ukraine's Crimea victory lie in its combination of resilience, innovation, and strategic patience. First, Ukraine proved that time can be a weapon. Rather than rushing into a costly frontal assault, Kyiv waited, prepared, and struck when conditions favored success. Second, the integration of modern warfare techniques, drones, precision missiles, electronic disruption, allowed Ukraine to offset numerical disadvantages. Third, the campaign demonstrated national unity, political leadership, military command, and civilian resilience aligned toward a single objective, reclaiming sovereignty. Finally, the victory sent a powerful deterrent message to occupying forces everywhere. Crimea's fall as a fortress shattered the myth that annexation backed by force guarantees permanence. The price of this victory, however, must be acknowledged. Ukraine paid a heavy cost in lives, resources, and years of sustained resistance. Economic strain, infrastructure damage, and human suffering cannot be ignored. Yet in strategic terms, the price of inaction would have been far higher. Allowing Crimea to remain under permanent occupation would have emboldened further aggression and weakened international norms. Russia, too, paid a price, one that extends beyond military losses. The loss of Crimea undermines Moscow's credibility, weakens its Black Sea posture, and challenges domestic narratives of strength. The economic and political consequences inside Russia may unfold over years, reshaping its regional influence. As the dust settles, the conclusion is unavoidable. Ukraine's epic victory in Crimea marks the end of an era of assumed Russian control and the beginning of a new strategic reality. This is not merely a battlefield success. It is a declaration that sovereignty can be reclaimed through resilience, intelligence, and unwavering national resolve. The world is watching, alliances are recalibrating, and history is being rewritten in real time. Crimea's future now stands as a testament to the idea that occupation is never destiny, and that even the most entrenched power structures can collapse when confronted by determination and strategic clarity.